Hello guys, so let me introduce myself first. My name is Dio Fathan and today I will be presenting my project about C-test for my language assessment project 1. So there will be two parts in this video that I will discuss. Is the first is C-test, what is C-test and etc. And the part 2 is all about case study about C-test. So let's move to the part 1 first, which is C-test. So yeah, what is C-test? C-test is a type of language proficiency test that measure a person's overall command of a language. It belongs to the same family as the clause test, which is fill in the blank type, but it uses a specific and consistent deletion rule to make scoring and task creations more objective. According to Clay and Braley in 1985, C-test is a gap-filling test designed to measure language proficiency in both first and second language. Yeah, this is the example of C-test. The original. Learning English requires regular practice. So this is the C-test. So C-test is basically the deletions in a word. In learning becomes lear, blank, ing, blank, rig, blank, rig, blank, blank. So expected answer. Learning English requires regular practice. This kind of task tests how well someone understands the structures of the language, that is vocabulary, grammar, and context all at once. So yeah, we move to the history of C-test. When, where, and who. The C-test was developed in Germany in the early 1980s by Ratz and Klein Bradley at the University of Duisburg-Essen because they wanted to improve the traditional clause test, which had some issues. For example, the scoring could be subjective because there were many possible correct answers. 2. The difficulty wasn't consistent. And the last is the test took a long time to complete. So they created the C-test to make it shorter, more reliable, and easier to score, while still testing overall proficiency. Now we move to the purpose and concept. So the principle of reduced redundancy, the C-test is based on the principle of reduced redundancy, which means if someone's really understands a language, they can still make sense of a text even when some information is missing. So by filling its missing parts of words, a test taker shows they understand the context, grammar, and word structures of the language. So the C-test measures integrative language competence, the combinations of many skills working together: reading, grammar, vocabulary, and morphology. So yeah, we move to the how is a C-test constructed. How? So the standard procedure. Well, first, choose 4 till 6 short texts, each about 50 and 70 words, or maybe 18 to 100 words. The second is keep the first and last sentences complete to provide context. The third is starting from the second sentence, delete the second half of every second word. Example, in the word students become stud, and in the word language become lang. The fourth is leave short words, first or 2 letters intact. Example, of, in, to. And the fifth is give clear instructions and 1 example before starting. Each missing part is 1 scoring item. How C-test is scored? So the scoring is objective and simple. Each correct completion equal 1 point. Incorrect or blank is 0 points. No partial credit usually. Total score is number correct divided by total blanks and times 100%. For example, if a student fills 18 blanks correctly out of 100, the score is 80%. This makes it very efficient for teachers or researchers because it can be machine scored or checked quickly by hand. So yeah, what does C-test measure? What is it? The C-test doesn't focus on just one skill like reading or grammar. It measures overall language proficiency. It requires lexical knowledge, which is knowing words, morphological knowledge, which is you guys knowing word forms, and syntactic knowledge, means that you guys know the sentence structure, and also the contextual comprehension, which is understanding the meaning of the text. So yeah, that's why researchers call it an integrative test, because it tests multiple language components at once. The reliability and validity. So many studies show that the C-test has first high reliability, consistent result across time and groups. And the second is good validity, correlates strongly with other proficiency tests like TOEFL or IELTS. For example, in Dollar and the others in 2021 found that C-test scores predict academic success in university programs. And the second is Hosseini in 2024 found through Moken scale analysis that C-test item fit well with psychometric models, showing internal consistency. So researchers agree that the C-test is a trustworthy tool, especially for placements or diagnosis testing. So here are the advantages of C-test. So the first is its efficiency, because short testing time, it 10 for or until 20 minutes, but many items. It's objective because it's clear scoring rules, less examiner bias, and it's also reliable because high internal consistency and easy to construct, uses authentic text and a simple rule. It's also integrative, tests vocabulary, grammar, and context together. So that's why it's popular in language centers and placement testing. So that is the advantages of C-test. So besides the advantages, C-tests also have a limitations or weakness. The first is format familiarity. What does it mean? Because student who knows the format may perform better. And also the first language influence. Some word structures easier or harder depending on the first language. So it also not skill specific. Yeah, it doesn't measure speaking or listening ability. So it's only about reading. So construct overlap. So yeah, it may partly measure reading speed or guessing strategies. So it should be combined with other tasks, for example, writing, speaking, listening, for all full proficiency provide. However, in the practical applications, so in practice, the C-test can be used for several purposes. In the placement testing, which is to group students by level, which is, for example, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And the second is progress testing, to check how much a student has improved. And the third is research, as a quick indicator of a language proficiency. And screening, to see if students are ready to enter a program. For example, language centers often use C-tests during orientations week to divide students into suitable levels. So yeah, for the conclusion is the C-test is a short, practical, and reliable test, a good indicator of overall language proficiency, and also useful for placement or research purposes. But it should be used together with other tests for full assessment. So C-test, it represents a balanced mix of psycholinguistic theory and testing practically. And these are the references I use for this presentation. The first is Fratz and Klein Bali in 1981, and Dollar and Others 2021, and Suahasani 2024, and the last one is Babai 2001. All of these studies support the reliability and validity and usefulness of the C-test in language assessment. So that is for the part 1. So yeah, we move to the part 2, guys. It's all about case study. I'm going to present a case study about how I developed and used a C-test to assess the English proficiency of intermediate level students. This presentation will cover how the test was designed, scored, and justified, as well as the reasons why the C-test is an effective tool for language assessment. So, the background and purposes. In the context is, the first is, in the study, I was asked to create an assessment for a group of 30 intermediate level English students, and the goal was to measure their general proficiency, including reading comprehensions, grammar, and vocabulary. After considering different type of test, I chose the C test because it's efficient and integrative and assess multiple language skills at once. So the next is making a C test with step by step. The first step is selecting text. I selected two short texts, each about 18 to 100 words. The first text is about online learning, and which is a fabulous topic for students. And also, and the second text is all about protecting the environment, which introduced broader vocabulary. These topics are both engaging and suitable for intermediate learners. And step 2 is applying the C-test method. So following the rule of 2, I kept the first sentence intact to give students context, then deleted the second half of every second word. This method ensures a consistent pattern and allows us to test both word recognition and contextual understanding. So yeah, we move to the scoring guide. So the scoring guide is the C-test is scored objectively. Is correctly restored word equals 1 point, and partially correct answer reaches half a point. After scoring, I can classify the students into proficiency levels, from basic to high intermediate based on their total score. So here the proficiency level example. For the score range 85 until 1% is a high intermediate. So the student excellent control and understanding. So for this range 70 until 84%, the proficiency level is intermediate. Good comprehensions, few errors. And the 50 to 67%, low proficiency level is low intermediate. So it's a partial understanding. Below 50% is proficiency level basic. So the description is limited proficiencies. So yeah, after we applying that step by step, so here are the results. So the first is online learning has become one of the most common forms of education today. Many students blank blah 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 blah. So yeah, that is the example of the questions. And here are the answer. So the answer key, online learning has become one of the most common forms of education today. Many students prefer this method because it gives them the freedom to study anywhere, anytime. They can watch recorded lectures, download assignments, and complete activities whenever they have free time. However, online study requires strong self-discipline, motivation, and effective time management. Without direct teacher guidance, some students find it hard to stay focused. To succeed, learners must plan carefully, set clear goals, and keep consistent habits throughout the course. And also this is the result. This is about protecting the environment. This is the answer key. Protecting the environment is one of the most important responsibilities we have today. Everyone can help by making small but meaningful changes in their daily lives. Using reusable bags and bottles, turning off unnecessary lights, and saving water can reduce pollution. Planting trees near our homes can also make the air cleaner and fresher. People who choose to walk or ride a bicycle instead of driving can help reduce traffic and air pollution. If everyone takes these simple steps, we can create a cleaner and greener planet for the future. Yeah, we move to the justification for text choice. So the relevance, the tag is relevant because environmental protection is a familiar and meaningful topic for students. It connects with real life situation and promotes awareness of daily habits that are important to planet. And level appropriate, it suits intermediate learners since it uses common vocabulary and simple grammar, present tense, modals, connectors, while still including a few challenges words like responsibilities and pollution. In the balance skills, the text integrates reading comprehensions, grammar, and vocabulary in the C-test format. Students might use context and grammar clues to complete missing parts, testing multiple skills at once. So yeah, we move to the advantages of using C-tests. So compared to other assessment methods like multiple choice or essay writing, the C-test is much more efficient. It allows teachers to test several skills at once, provide objective scoring, and can be completed in just 15 to 20 minutes. This makes it ideal for classroom and placement assessment. So yeah, we move to the implementation plan. So yeah, I plan to administer the test in one session. Each student will complete both tests independently. The test takes less than 30 minutes and scoring is fast and objective. Once the test results are ready, I will give each student feedback on their strength and weakness. So yeah, for the reflections and expected outcomes, the expected outcome is that the C-test will accurately reflect each student's proficiency, and it will also help me identify specific language weakness so I can adjust future lessons accordingly.